So this is the first part of the story, okay? So I try to be a good dad, but you know, like the life just, you know, like kind of takes off. Your kids start, you know, like, you know, they get their own, you know, like ideas, and they're, you know, like my 9-year-old, you know, like she's just figuring out about lying, and that's a tough thing. It's hard to roll that one back because lying is pretty, you know, like amazingly useful in life. It's like, how do you tell a kid not to use a thing that just solves every possible problem, like magic? Forklift. How do you... Because that's why kids lie, because they're in trouble. They lie because they're in more trouble than they can take. You know, like, you know, because kids, you know, like, they lie because they're in trouble. And it's more than they can, because trouble is too much for a kid. Trouble, for grown-ups, we can take trouble. We don't care, we just go, oh, I'm sorry. Am I in trouble? We don't care. But to a little kid, trouble is like this horrible, did you take the chocolates? And she did, and she doesn't know how to handle it. Did you take it?
No.
Well, all right then, have a nice day. Mark Twain once said, a man who always tells the truth doesn't have to remember what he said. And that's great. But Mark Twain also said, so 100% of the things he said were perfectly awesome. Really, Mark Nigger Jim, you're gonna go with, that's the best you could do to name the, yeah, got kind of a nice ring to it, Nigger Jim. Yeah, well, it's a little on the niggers, isn't it? Could have called him Black Nigger. I mean, just a little, take it down one notch of the, thanks for that, nigger. Anyway, so while we're in this area, now that I know you guys are cool, but this is a story that takes place, I'm going to tell you the story, it's kind of a messy story. It takes place over a lot of years because it started with my friend shitty nigger Mike, who told me this story. This happened to him back in the 90s. He was going home for Christmas, and he lives in Connecticut. He grew up in Connecticut in some shitty shit town in shitty Connecticut. But he didn't like going home. He's one of those people, he came from a place, doesn't like it anymore. And he goes back, he doesn't know how to handle his family, you know? And he came from a place home. And he doesn't like going home. But it's still home. So he went home from home one year, but he doesn't like going home. Forklift! And everybody's hanging out during the day, talking, having lunch. And his father and his brother both work at this factory. And his brother's grousing about his day at work. And he goes, yeah, and then this fucking forklift. Fell asleep with the forklift. And then my friend Mike heard that and he went, oh. Why am I part of this people? I hate this. And he felt bad. And then that night he's in the kitchen and he's having a warm pussy or whatever. And I don't know why that's funny, but what that says about him. Yeah, because he's a nigger. No. He's just sort of having some time to himself, and his cousin comes downstairs. We're staying, and his cousin, he likes his cousin. That's the one person he always felt connected with. And his cousin's like,
What's wrong, man?
and he says, well, geez, I come home and I hope that everything would be, normal, but then my brother says, oh, he's about the factory, and his cousin goes, there's nothing worse than a nigger. Mike tells me that story about how he's just not listened to by anybody in his family. And then later on, I get a job writing on a TV show for Cedric the Entertainer. Great nigger. And he had a show, and he hired a writing staff, half white writers, half nigger writers. So at lunchtime, we talked about pussy. It was just, we'd have these provocative, interesting conversations, trading notes about pussy. The white writers and the black writers. And I told that story. I told the whole thing about the guy, nigger the fourth, and then the cousin saying, nigger the fourth. And then one of the writers, a black nigger, he goes, there's nothing worse than a nigger.
Making it harder for the rest of us.
Still, nobody's quite hearing what my friend was going.
And then, about a year later, I'm hanging out with my friend Dino. Dino's black. He has no dogs. He's just got a big nose and he just stands there. I told Dino the whole story. I told him about the guy who did the forklift and the and then the black nigger. And then Dino says, nigger, black, shitty, nigger, the fourth, nigger, that's nothing worse than a nigger pussy. But nigger fell asleep with the forklift. I don't know why that's funny.